That's better.
All right. Well, welcome to today's Stand-Up Stand-Up, your daily dose of open source comedy straight from the IT trenches. Whether you're a guru or just starting your IT career, this is going to quickly become your favorite meeting of the day. Our mission is to provide a platform where IT professionals share experiences, learn, and laugh. I'm your host, Jerry Black, and with me today are my fellow IT Misfits, Tim Stevens and Matt Campisi. All right. Well, today we're continuing our weekly topic of working from home. And I wanted to talk a little bit today about trying to stay motivated working from home, at the same time not overworking yourself when working from home, because both are really but first, before we get into any of that, I think it's important to note that today is a big day in history. 40 years ago today, our friend, our misfit, and just a great all-around guy, Tim Stevens, was born. So Tim, congratulations, happy birthday. Thanks for joining on your birthday.
Oh, thank you. I feel so old. It's getting bad. It's getting
well, us on the that are on the Zoom meeting that are significantly older than you take offense to that. So
well, Tim, the good news is the gray just started today. I mean, it's amazing how just when you hit 40, your beard turned gray on us. So I mean,
the transformation. Yes. I was telling Jerry, and this has been the trend for the last 5 years for me. Right. It never fails. A month, 2 months before my birthday, something stops working or something starts. And lately it's been 10 o'clock. I hit this wall. Doesn't matter how much caffeine, how many cold plunges I do, how many energy drinks. It's it. I'm done. 10 o'clock. I'm done. And I hate it.
I would hate that too.
I hate it. And I don't know. Yeah.
We need 15 minutes out of you today before you go down. So stay with us.
Yeah. You don't mean 10 a.m., right?
I'll leave that open.
Yeah.
I'll leave that open. 10 a.m. I'm done.
10 a.m. It's just I don't understand.
Short work week.
I don't know. Yeah.
7 to 10. That's all
my
I got.
employer would be too excited about that one. But yeah.
Tim's gonna need to give us his motivation on what 2 hours a day looks like for him working.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, so the working from home side of the world and motivating yourself. Actually, I would say the best way to motivate yourself on a daily basis is, of course, to attend our call.
Oh.
Duh. Now, outside of that, I think it's just something I think we all struggle with is you wake up, if you're working from home, you wake up and your commute that used to be maybe 20, 30 or longer, that we complain about or whatever. And we joke about hey, my commute is from my back door to my office or from my bedroom door to my second bedroom or wherever, your kitchen. That's all great, but we do miss out on that sort of 30 minutes of prep time. And then on the drive home or your commute home, the 30 minutes or whatever it is of downtime of, I'm just going to listen to a podcast or I'm going to listen to, music or whatever it is you would maybe use to detune. I actually ended up, I always made a lot of phone calls during my commute to get my day started and to finish out my day. And, I forgot to call. I needed to talk to. And it really helped me by the time I got home to be I feel like I closed all those things out. And all of that would lead to, a pretty motivating, I know when I wake up this morning, I need to make the following calls. So I got to get rolling. I got to get doing versus, hey, this morning I'm going to wake up, I'm going to walk out and I'm going to sit in the same office that I've been sitting in and that sort of deal. So trying to stay motivated really is a little bit of a challenge. What I've found is recreating that morning ritual and recreating that evening ritual in a different way. So, okay, now I'm not in my car anymore, although there have absolutely been times where I went and got in my car and I drove around for 30 minutes or 20 minutes just to I just needed that, so even that, where I'm just going to drive around, kind of the neighborhood or whatever, up the freeway and down the freeway, something a little bit less frustrating than what my commute used to be, but that really did help. Recognizing that I needed that, I then created my morning routine to sort of incorporate 30 minutes of, it's okay to not sit down in front of my computer and immediately start doing email, responding to people. Like, I take 30 minutes to just listen to a podcast, listen to a little bit of music. I have it's so weird, you can't even say their name, but like her on my desk, and I ask her to play some music for me, and then I'll just all the way through the crap email that I get. I don't know why. That's just fun for me. So, and then in my evenings, it's the same thing. In the evenings I do the same thing. It's a shutdown process, and it's hey, when I leave the office, I need to leave the office. I need to leave it here and take that what would you call it, that time that used to be commute. I have 1 minute for commute, so I got to take 30 minutes of, I have to distance myself before I leave the office. What I found is that by doing that, it makes the office less of all I ever use the office for is work. And so almost that, I never wanted my personal office to be that place where I'm like, I don't want to go out there. You know what I mean? So this is my way of, it actually ended up helping in that regard as well. So anyway, Tim, any insight into that sort of motivation, how you keep yourself motivated throughout, other than having great friends like myself and Matt to keep you motivated? What else might
be very helpful? Yes, very helpful. I didn't do this right away when COVID kicked off, April 2020, and we're all sent home. It took me a while, but I learned that, and Jerry, you mentioned it, routines and rituals will serve you if you can put them in place and exercise them every day. Now, the argument there could be, well, the monotony of doing the same thing every day is what drives people crazy and what kills motivation. Yes, it can. But if your morning immediately starts with you taking your phone and opening up and looking at that Outlook app or looking at that Teams messaging app, and it's 6:30, 6:45, what you're doing is you're teaching yourself and you're wiring your brain that it's okay to never disconnect from the matrix, never get out of the work mindset, and it's not healthy. So this is very difficult for me, and I'm sure it's very difficult for a lot of people, but I don't touch my phone when I get up. I don't. I force myself. There are certain things that I do, and it's changed over time. I've kind of dabbled into the cold plunges for a while. I'm a spiritual man, so picking up my Bible. I've read some literature about getting sun as soon as you get up. Some vitamin D helps with mental health and morale and thought processes. Talking with my wife, as much as I don't get it, I don't get enough, but just striking up a conversation, even if I'm not interested. I just know that, hey, let me start my day with hopefully a positive note. So routines, rituals, definitely something I would recommend for all. And another thing, Jerry, that you touched on that I have to, again, piggyback off of is, don't play where you work. Don't. I'm sitting at a desk that I got, I think, American Furniture Warehouse for a couple bucks. And this is where I play. This is where I sit for this podcast. This is where I write for my comedy. This is where I write for my motivational speeches. And then I have my work desk. And for the longest time, I blended the two. And I had a KVM switch, and I'd switch from one computer to another. But that you've got to figuratively get in your car and drive away from your job like we did before April 2020 and stop working. Because if you don't, well, you won't stop working. And there is no closure for your day.
Yeah.
Right. And then that's who you become. I become a network engineer or network manager, and that's who I am around the clock. And believe me, I don't want to identify as that around the clock.
Yeah.
I just don't. So
our employers, I think, as much as everyone was afraid of what people would do when they went home, like they all put the spyware on all of our laptops to see, are we actually working? And this, they made out like bandits. Like we work, twice, not twice as long, a good 20 to 30% longer. Like if you're waking up at 6:30 and your first thing is on your phone, and Jerry, your last thing is on your, like, how many more hours a day are they getting out of us? So I think that worry of people are going to screw around. Yes, you could maybe go to the dentist or go quick grocery shop, but they're still getting more hours out of us no matter what. I mean, the blurring between life and work is so rough nowadays.
Yeah. That expectation of, I'm sorry, Jerry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if you guys, well, I'm sure you do. That expectation now of getting into back-to-back calls, starting at as early as 7:30 and as late as the last call starting at 5. And that, a lot of people wrestle with the guilt and the temptation and almost the fear of, if I don't match my peers in terms of being punctual and being attentive and participating in the endless amount of calls, then somehow I'm not of value, and it becomes kind of a silent competition.
True.
Yeah, that and I'm sure you guys go through it. I'm getting better at, I don't need to be in that call. I'm not adding value. I've got a team member that can cover that, but it still is. There's some days where it starts at 7 a.m., doesn't end until 5 p.m. And then it's like, well, now I can start to get some work done because I'm done with my call.
Yeah.
You
mentioned
about saying no. The one thing about meetings altogether, the one thing I'm feeling more comfortable with, which is a little bit probably not as professional, is I'm okay showing up late if I'm back to back to back and I need to go to the bathroom or need to grab something to eat. I'm like, I need 5 minutes to grab something to eat or go to the bathroom. Like, I'm just going to be 5 minutes late, and I'm just not going to like be upset about it because of the back to back to backness of everything.
Yeah. One company that I was working with, they set a expectation that all meetings actually started 5 minutes late. And I thought, man, that really, really worked well. There were those few people that were really sticklers that were like, I start my meeting on time, I leave my other meetings on time, but nobody ever leaves the meeting. It's like, oh, well, it's look, you can tell everybody, end your meeting 5 minutes early, or start your meeting 5 minutes late if that's what you're trying to accomplish, right? Either way, it's a 5-minute delay. But for whatever reason, as humans or maybe as Americans or whatever, the leaving it 5 minutes early never happened. But leaving it on time and, this next one, everybody kind of cues in, hey, it's 5 minutes after, we're going to go ahead and get started. It worked great. And it really did give people that moment, that downtime in between meetings, which I do think is important. But you come back to motivation. When you're back to back and you feel like you didn't get any time in between meetings to even take care of yourself, your natural bodily functions, you don't have a time to close out that other meeting, to start the next meeting, to be really present, you are less and less motivated. So I would tell you, I think it absolutely needs to be, we need to, as an industry, recognize that is the situation, and that we need to be sure that we're taking that into account, and not just because, we want to save time or we want people. You will limit people's motivation slowly but surely over time by not giving them that 5 minutes, however you can do it as a company. Yeah. So anyways.
And at an individual level, like, you've got to regulate that, and you've got to be confident in yourself that you're not going to lose your job if you decide, hey, this meeting that, I probably should attend, But I'm also going to tell whoever's hosting the meeting, I need to do something, right? And that something is I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to make lunch and I'm going to call my mother and I'm going to let the dog out and I'm going to go check on the mail and you have to regulate and you got to take care of yourself because the companies, you can't expect them to care about your mental and physical health or your motivation. They're just going to push that more button that you either have visible to them that's huge or it's, they can't find it, but that's what they're looking for more. They're looking for more and you can't blame them. They're business. We get, it's the business, right? It's the natural, it's natural for the capitalist world. It's business. You can't expect them to care. So you have to regulate at an individual level. You've got to take care of yourself. You've got to recognize your value. And if you're leading a team like I am and others, that you've got to also set an example where, if I'm sending emails out at 11 p.m. at night and consistently, you got to understand how that's being perceived by the team that you're leading. What is that? The expectation? You should be online at any time. And okay, what does that do to your own mental health? And what does that do to your family time?
And do I have to reply at 11 o'clock because my boss sent it? Like that's the other. Oh
yeah. So how do you? It really does come down to, and I think all of us, and then in IT, it's even harder because just who we are, the nature of our jobs, the machinery that we work on, the tools that we work on never stops, right? It is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Those things are running. Nobody goes in and turns off the lights at 8 o'clock at night and goes, okay, factory's closed. We can you don't have to worry until we turn the lights back on tomorrow morning. Our systems are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And because
there's
of that,
exceptions. There's exceptions.
Oh, here we go. Let's hear it.
Let me guess. IBM's data center.
I didn't say IBM. I ring Bob and Mary, in the great words of the former owner of the company that I work for. Yeah, there are exceptions.
All right. So, anyways, how we right? It doesn't. None of that turns off, and so we're in that world of trying to stay motivated in a world that is, I guess I would say unrelenting at times. But we all deal with it, and it's certainly, I really do. I guess let's tie this a little bit back to comedy. For me, comedy is a creative outlet. Well, I'm sure for all of us, right? Comedy is a creative outlet. If you're not into comedy or stand-up or whatever, finding a creative outlet that is that thing different from work, that actually is maybe a little bit different even from family or the other obligations that you have in your life, the other roles that you play in your life, I think is important. And I would tell you the fact that we do stand up, that we go to, sometimes we go to open mics, we do our shows, we do this podcast, makes, for me, some of the other parts of work less, I guess I am more motivated, if for no other reason than I know I'm going to work and I'm getting material. I'm getting material from work today. So I'm doing 8-10 hours of stand-up a day. I don't know about you guys, but I
writing
think
all day.
getting kind of tired of my stand-up routines, but I don't care. Every meeting is an open mic, if you ask me.
You're moonlighting on your day job 100%, not even like off hours. It's 100% overlap.
Yes, 100% overlap. Waka waka waka, right? So anyways, all right. Well, now we're to open source, so we started to dovetail into it there, but let's talk a little open source. Who has anything to share today as far as a open source comedy, something we could share with our compatriots? Maybe they can share out with the rest of the world. Anybody?
I mean, so we were talking about what we've done differently or how do we stay motivated. And, so we're on these Zoom calls right now. My background's blurred, but if it wasn't blurred, you usually could see pretty deep in the other people's office. So I'm on a call. This is with my boss, and people have artwork. So I mean, his artwork behind him is a nice framed poster, but Does anyone know what happens when a piece of glass hits light at a certain angle? Well, glass is see-through, but when light hits at certain angles, it actually turns into like a mirror. So it's
right, okay.
So I'm looking at my boss here, but behind him, I see what is now a mirror of what's in front of his laptop, which is big screen TV, literally a big screen TV. And we're having a conversation and he's giving me a performance review and he's like, Matt, like your stats are you're definitely MVP quality. Your stats are like all league. Just keep it up, fight through that fourth quarter. And, I think we're going to win the game, and I'm thinking, wow, those are really nice compliments until I looked up and looked into the mirror, which is reflecting above him and he's watching Sports Center. Like I just got a review by Sports Center instead of legitimate review of my performance. So, kudos to him for staying motivated by, overlapping his passion of sports and work and giving me feedback. So
that's
those
good.
that have TVs off camera, make sure you pay attention to what's behind you because certain times of the day when the light hits the angle, you're going to be called out.
That's awesome. That's a good one. That's a good one. Tim, you got anything today?
I just want to comment real quick on Matt, and then I've got something to share with our viewers. Matt, I would look into whether the tone of those reviews changes every week, like his favorite team's performance does.
Yeah.
That's what it he's measuring your performance.
Matt, you're dragging. You're dragging. What are you doing?
Man, I hope we get a better draft choice, because you're not, holding your weight on the, the line this week.
Maybe
Matt,
it's
you got to turn this franchise around.
Like right now, Matt might be like, hey, Matt, you really got to learn to pass the ball a little bit better between the team. We're looking at we've got to do a full court press this this month, and then next month or football will start and it'll be like, hey, Matt, I think you really did a good job on kicking that off this year, but I really need to work on your returns. It's going to be seasonal. He's going to have different sports analogies for every season. His reviews will go that way.
Yeah. But you know what? He doesn't know about the glass in the mirror with different angles. So maybe we should not tell people. But for all
hopefully he's not our one viewer.
Exactly. Jerry, watch out! If you don't blur, your little monitor is gonna, rat you out of what you have in front of us.
It's so weird because, the blur, only works for so long, and then, anyways, yeah. All right, Tim, go ahead.
I'm the type of guy when I go to the grocery store, I avoid all human contact as much as possible. I will spend an extra 45 to 50 minutes maneuvering through the store, avoiding interactions, avoiding uncomfortable paths being crossed or the endless excuse me's or the lack of excuse me's. That's just me. I like to get in and get out. I went to Fry's Marketplace the other day and I was on the hunt for papayas. Big fan of papayas and green chilies. And I go to the produce section and I know where the papayas are because I've gone and bought the same papayas from the same store in the same produce section hundreds of times. And I find myself, when I see them, I pause, and before I even approach where they're at, I will just look at them and I can tell whether or not they just put them out or they've been out for 24 hours. And then I'll make a decision whether or not they're even worth going over there to touch. So I'm staring at them, trying to figure out, hey, are these ripe for the picking? Is this a good time? And, did I make good decisions today? And I realized that there's a woman that's standing very close to the papayas. And we've all been there where you don't realize the direction you're looking in until someone looks at you and they give you that look as if, why are you looking at me? So the perception was I was staring at her. And then I realized there's this figure coming in my peripheral of what probably was her husband looking at me, looking at her. So avoid human contact. I'm not a guy that likes conflict at all. I don't care. I'll get papayas later. So I'm like, I'll come back. So I go to the aisle for the green chilies. And just my luck, so did she. And she positions herself right where the green chilies are at, which I knew. And I saw her ahead of time. So I was able to avoid the situation again. Then I see him approach her and do one of these numbers around the neck and give her a kiss as if there's an imminent threat. Then I put two and two together. I put myself in his shoes. Like, what's this average, good-looking, gray-haired brown man doing in the store looking at, I don't know, maybe his sister? I don't know. So, long story short, I didn't get papayas. I didn't get green chilies. I'm going to a different store, guys. I can't do this anymore. Or maybe I'll do that. What's that Walmart thing where you can order the food and they bring it out? What's that?
Yeah, there you go.
Walmart.
No human interaction. Just pop the trunk.
Just pop the trunk, and hopefully the papayas are good that day. So.
Is this a long-winded story to say that you really were checking out her papayas and then you made it about shopping?
And her cans.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear that he was also looking at the man's green chili, if you know what I mean.
He's the one that was uncomfortable, not her. But it's so
two for
relatable.
one. 2 for 1.
Yeah, but it's funny. It's funny.
Human interaction is yeah. Like you said earlier, Jerry, there's comedy wherever you go. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that's good for today. I don't have anything else to share. I think we did a good job today. Lots of open source. So hopefully there's something there that everybody feels like they can take away. All right. Well, that's the end of our meeting. So thank you so much for sharing this morning, indulging us on the lighter side of comedy. If you laughed today, awesome. If you didn't, or you think you've got something funny to say with us, please reach out to us. We would love to have you join us on the show. Most importantly, share something funny with your other IT professionals today, whether it was something we said, something you came up with because of what we said, or otherwise. Our jobs are complex. They're hard. Our work rarely stops just when it's time to punch out for the day. So if you share something funny with a colleague, you can make their day a little brighter. And I guarantee you'll be amazed at how much better your day is because of it. Thank you, as always, to my fellow IT Misfits, Matt Campisi, Tim Stevens. I'm Jerry Black. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Happy birthday, Tim.
Happy birthday, Tim.
Thanks.
Good show.
That was good.
Are they called shows?